I would now like to go over exercise 1115, but before we start exercise 1115, I do want to go over the advantages of a service department costs being charged to the operational department. The operational department is provided additional information for decision making. If the service department charges are charged to the operational department, it provides profitability information for the operational department, and therefore the management in the operational department can make more informed decisions. It also encourages the service department to provide the services in an efficient format, and also the operating departments will use the service department on a more conservative basis. Now, Coronis Corporation operates a medical service department for its employees. Changes to the company's operating departments for the variable charges, to the company's operating departments for the variable costs of the medical service departments are based on the actual number of employees in each department. Charges for the fixed cost of the medical department are based on the long-run average number of employees in each department. Variable medical service department costs are budgeted at $80 per employee, and the fixed medical department costs are budgeted at $400,000. The actual cost for the medical service department for the most recent year was $41,000, and for variable costs, and $408,000 for fixed costs. And they give us the data breaking down the cutting and milling department. In the first requirement, determine the medical service department charges for each of the operating departments. So when you are charging the variable cost to the operation departments, you would take the budget rate, and the budget rate was $80 per employee, and you would use the actual number of employees for the most recent year. So the variable cost for cutting was $80 per the actual of 150 employees for $12,000. For the milling department was $80 per employee times 80 actual employees in the recent years of 80 for $6,400. And for the variable cost charge, it's $80 per employee at 270 actual employees, which is $21,600. So the actual variable cost in total for the service department allocating to the operational departments is $41,000, and you would take budgeted amounts, in this case the budgeted per employee, the dollar amount of budgeted per employee by the most recent number of employees in each department. Now, under the fixed cost, what we have to actually do is use the long-run average number of employees. So the long-run average for the cutting department is 180, for the milling department it's 120, and for the assembly department it is 300. So we have a total of 600 in average long-run number of employees. So what we do is calculate the percent of each department to the total long-run average. So the cutting department would be 180 divided by 600, which is 30%, 120 divided by 600, which is 20%, and the assembly department would be 300 divided by 600, which is 50%. So the fixed cost is the percentages we just calculated, the average long-run percentages, is calculated based on not the actual fixed overhead, but the budgeted. So 30% of $400 in the cutting department would be $120,000. 20% in the milling department would be $80,000, and 50% of the $400,000 in the assembly would be $200,000. The total fixed cost would then be $400,000, and that is based on the budgeted overhead. Now, the second requirement of the problem asks us to compare the total actual cost for variable and fixed costs, which is that which were given to us in the problem. The variable cost was $41,000 and the fixed was $408,000. The actual charges that were allocated to the operational departments was, for the variable cost is $40,000 and the fixed cost is $400,000. So overall, there were $9,000 worth of cost not charged to the various service departments. And the reason they were not charged is because the difference between the actual cost, the variable actual cost, it was the budgeted $80 per employee times their actual hours. So we had a budgeted number there, and for the fixed cost we used we allocated not the actual fixed cost but the budgeted cost. So because the service department providing the services would be responsible for the budgeting of the fixed and variable cost, they should be accountable for the explanation of the variances, and that's how they could actually have more information for the service department to improve the charging of their services to the operational departments.